For on the heels of the presidential assassination, there was another killing in Dallas, one that Oswald was arrested for. But some people believe that he was never at the crime scene. Researchers can confirm Oswald's movements for the first 30 minutes after the assassination. Just before 1 p.m., he walked into his boarding house at 1026 North Beckley in the Oak Cliff section of Dallas. Housekeeper Erling Roberts saw him leave moments later. No one saw him for the next 15 minutes. Then, at approximately 1:15, nearly a mile away, Officer J.D. Tippett stopped to question a stranger. For unknown reasons, this man shot the police officer, then fled the scene. 35 minutes later, Oswald was arrested and soon charged with the murder. If Oswald was able to arrive at 10th and Patton in 15 minutes, then he could have shot Officer Tippett. But some theorists claim these times don't add up. That in those 15 minutes, Oswald could not have traveled the 9/10ths of a mile from point A, the boarding house, to point B, where Tippett was shot. And if Oswald couldn't walk that distance within this time frame, then someone else must have shot the officer, and maybe the president.
Well, and as you realize, Gary, I'm one of those people that always believe that he couldn't make it in time. So this way, we're going to have an accurate picture of what went on.
All right, let's do the test and find out.
Okay.
All right.
We decided to restage Oswald's presumed movements from the still-standing boarding house to the crime scene to determine if he could have arrived without assistance and perhaps the actual path he took. For this demonstration, we researched the clothes he wore that day and even gave him a .38 caliber revolver.
Make sure it's unloaded. It is.
It is.
To carry along the route.
All right, Dave, what's next in this test?
We will break our walk into two parts. The first, to the corner of Beckley and Davis, and the second, by two routes mapped by the testimony of contradictory eyewitnesses.
Okay, I want you to get on your mark and start walking briskly. Ready, set, go. He will head up Beckley Street, and we'll get in and follow him and eventually pass him in a golf cart so that we will be waiting for him when he reaches the next checkpoint.
And how fast should Richard be walking?
Well, the Warren report indicated that they were looking for somebody who was walking briskly.
In our first lay, we will assume that Oswald took the quickest way between his boarding house and the corner of Beckley and Davis. No eyewitnesses contradict this assumption.
3, 2, 1, stop.
Our Oswald's time for this first segment is 5 minutes and 54 seconds. At this point on the map, Oswald was just 4 blocks from the Tippett shooting scene. From here, there are 4 ways to get to the murder location of 10th and Patton. 2 of these routes are ruled out, as reliable witnesses along the way do not report seeing Oswald.
There was a witness by the name of Helen Markham who lived just off of Patton.
Although nobody witnessed the first part of Oswald's journey, there are 2 witnesses who did see his final approach to the murder scene. But the testimony of these witnesses is contradictory. One witness saw Oswald walking westbound on 10th. And in order for him to be where this witness says he was, he would have had to walk this route.
3, 2, 1, start.
Could this route have been covered in the approximately 15 minutes the Warren Commission says he had?
On the day of the assassination, a lot of the traffic was off the streets because everybody was in watching television or listening to the radio because they'd heard about the assassination of the president. 3, 2, 1, stop.
Adding up the maze of this indirect route gives us a total of 16 minutes and 11 seconds.
That won't work.
It's a tough fit, if it fits at all.
If Oswald took this indirect route, he may not have been where the Warren Commission said he was, doing what they said he did. Is this the loose thread that causes the official story to unravel?
3, 2, 1, start.
We need to do one more test. Every detail of the events surrounding the assassination of President Kennedy has been studied and debated. The question of Lee Harvey Oswald acting alone or as part of a grand conspiracy is based in part on a critical timeline of his movements after the assassination. At 1 p.m., he is observed leaving his boarding house at 1026 Beckley. 15 minutes and nearly a mile away, Officer J.D. Tippit is murdered. Unsolved History decided to carefully document Oswald's walk through Oak Cliff and determine if he could have arrived at the murder scene.
5 minutes and 47 seconds.
The first route we selected supports the testimony of an eyewitness who saw Oswald walking westward on 10th, just prior to the shooting of Officer Tippit. But our clock time of 16 minutes and 11 seconds would not have allowed Oswald to arrive at the scene by the time Tippit was killed. If the eyewitness who forced us to construct this route is correct, the case for Oswald as a lone gunman begins to fall apart. Either someone helped him arrive in time, or someone else shot Officer Tippit. But there was another eyewitness, Helen Markham, and she was closer to the crime scene. Her testimony stated that she saw Oswald moving east, not west, on 10th. Is there a route that could place Oswald on this path towards Tippit's final location?
So what we need to do to test this is take the Crawford route, right?
Correct.
Okay.
This route takes Oswald along Davis for half a block, then up Crawford to 10th, then over to Patton, where he is confronted by Officer Tippit.
3, 2, 1, mark. I've never done it this tightly.
Okay.
And more in my mind is the possibility that this can be done. 3, 2, 1, stop.
The total time it took our Oswald to walk from the boarding house to the corner of 10th and Patton is 11 minutes, 10 seconds.
Plenty of time to...
Plenty of time for him to make it to this location and time to have the shooting take place.
You bet.
So another potential myth has been dispelled here today.
There are still unexplained questions surrounding the killing of Officer Tippit, not the least of which being the discrepancy between the eyewitnesses who saw him walking in 2 different directions. But our test shows Oswald could have arrived at the murder scene unaided.
I've always been one of the ones that felt that Oswald could not have made it from the rooming house down at Beckley under any circumstances. So, at least to my own satisfaction, and a little bit to my own frustration here, I have shown that he can make it well within the allotted time for the shooting to take place.
What surprises me is after 40 years, this is the first time this kind of time check has ever been done in front of a camera. It's important to check out stuff, not just accept the Warren Commission, not just accept the conspiracy folks. Check it out.